let's stick with jurisdictional risk and South America for a minute, because there's maybe a pivot occurring in a country that has not been favorable for a very long time. 150 years ago was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. The last 80 years, not so much, but with the election of Javier Milei, that may be changing. And we're seeing a lot of public figureheads like Elon Musk and Stanley Druckenmiller saying, I'm now investing in Argentina. But we're also seeing it from Lundin, from Glencore, from First Quantum mining companies. They produce next to no copper, even though they share a border with Chile, the world's largest copper exporter. What's your take on Argentina right now, Lobo? Quick break here, guys. Today's episode is brought to you by Copernico Metals. Now, regular viewers of my channel will be familiar with the entrepreneur behind Copernico. His name is Ivan Bebek. Now, although a young man in this business, Ivan's already created tremendous value for his shareholders in the past, namely with Caden Resources, which he sold to Agnico Eagle, and Keegan Resources, which became a mine now owned by Galiano Gold. Now, Ivan has surrounded himself with expertise from BHP, Newmont, and Barrick on his board at Copernico Metals. Check out copernicometals.com. Now back to the interview.
Well, again, not to get too company specific, but it's interesting. You know, the world famous, world-class Pascua Lama project, depending on which side of the border, it's called Lama Pascua or Pascua Lama, right? And there's part of it on the Argentina side, which is now seen more favorably because of the, Chile kind of generally going in the wrong direction. It's still a pro-mining jurisdiction, but it's been getting more and more difficult with every year, and the company-specific issues with that project. So it's kind of funny. But yes, I'm absolutely on board with this. It's difficult for me to, as an anarcho-capitalist, to enthusiastically support any politician, but at least this one claims to be an anarcho-capitalist. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, he said he was going to dollarize and he hasn't done it yet, so he's the worst thing ever. But, come on, give me a break. The guy is slashing government left and right. He doesn't have a legislative majority to really put through the kinds of reforms that he wants to do. His whole agenda is not in his hands. But what he can do as executive, he visibly is doing. This guy is walking the talk. He may be imperfect. He hugged Donald Trump, which Trump didn't care for very much either. But, darn it, the guy is walking the talk. He is making changes. And it's not just he's trying, it's actually having a difference. You got inflation down from 300% to low double digits. That's amazing in a third world country. That used to be a first world country. So honestly, Jay, I don't go for headline clickbaity kinds of things. But my biggest concern with the Milei government was that he would get shot, or that, he would try and upset people so much that there'd be a revolution, or, he wouldn't have a chance. But now he's been able to give that sharp shock therapy so quickly that it's started to make a difference, which now has the chance to make all the difference. Because if you administer the painful medicine and there's just the pain and the riots in the street and you get thrown out before anything can happen, you get written off. But now people are saying, oh, it's starting to change. His popularity in Argentina hasn't gone down. And foreign capitalists, even the IMF, in their infinite density, is seeing that, hey, there's the things are looking up here. So there is turnaround momentum going there, which could actually give him a chance to do the real job that needs to be done there. So this is still an if, not when question in my mind. I'm not saying Argentina is going to be the bastion of free enterprise for the world. But that could actually happen. This could become, that shining city on the hill, not just for Latin America, but for the whole world. And I know that the entire audience isn't going to be libertarian, but if you're at all free market oriented and people have criticized you for your free market and ideas and say, well, that's not realistic. That doesn't happen in the real world. And we've been desperately looking for real world examples of hardcore pro-market policies working. This could do it, right? Instead of having to refer to medieval Iceland or something, you can say, well, look at what Argentina is doing. Like, this could be, my metaphor for this is the shot heard round the world. This could be the chainsaw heard round the world. And what a wonderful thing that would be.
Yeah, that's the precedent that it could set would be remarkable. And you're right. You're never going to agree with everything a politician thinks or says, like ever, 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 especially if you're watching my show. I mean, come on. But he is walking the walk. He's fired a few thousand government employees. You mentioned getting inflation down from 300% to double digits. I got a buddy who manages money in Buenos Aires, and he used to always screenshot the monthly inflation rate and send it over to me. And I couldn't wrap my mind around, like, how are you managing money in 15% month over month inflation? But everyone's doing it. And he's now running a budget surplus at a government level, which is, I thought those days are behind us. I mean, when Canada went through the 2008 financial crisis, Prime Minister Harper was in charge, and he leveraged our natural resource economy very effectively to bring Canada through with a healthier balance sheet than any other G7 nation. He dipped us into a deficit, brought us back to surplus by balancing the budget, cost him the election because no one likes cuts, but he got us back to surplus. And reflecting on that, I'm like, they don't make them like that anymore. Like, I don't know if we'll ever see.
You got to wonder
like
what
that.
happened behind the scenes, Jay. I don't want to rain on your parade, your Harper parade, but like it is said that Ronald Reagan, even though he appointed Volcker and they put the U.S. through a recession and they fixed it, and Reagan gets credit along with Volcker for this turnaround. But it is said that actually Reagan was lobbying Volcker to ease up. Like, he really didn't want to lose the re-election. He wanted Volcker to ease up. But anyway, history happened anyway. So behind closed doors, who knows what Harper really thought? But
yeah, fair.
Another positive example of free enterprise actually working and bringing an economy forward would just be a wonderful thing.